Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. Now, as you know, on this channel, we look at all sorts of different things, and I'm very excited because so many people are coming forward with cutting edge technology, which is really mind-bending. It's taking the old system that we've grown up with, that we've been programmed with, and challenging you. And I know that my audience, my lovely audience, are up for that challenge. We had a lady on the other day who talked about bioresonance and taking a piece of somebody's hair, sending it in the post, and she could not only diagnose but cure whatever the disease was that particular individual had. And I'm very excited because I think we're going to trump that today with my guest. My guest today is Tom Paladino. He is a scalar energy researcher. He's developed a unique healing technique using scalar energy called Scalar Light. And that appears to have the ability to transmute pathogens quickly and, more importantly, painlessly. And he joins me now. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invitation.
It's absolutely lovely to have this groundbreaking technology available to us and open for discussion, as much as places like YouTube will allow us, of course. And so, Tom, this is groundbreaking. As I said, we've had this lady on before, only about a few weeks ago, talking about bioresonance using, I guess, vibration, and this is sort of in the same area but a little different. Am I right?
I would say so. My instruments are unique. I'm going to show the audience. I'm working with Scalar Energy, and the instrument, as you can see, that I'm pointing to, this is a scalar energy instrument. Working with what is known as scalar energy, or some people call it 0-point energy. It's not electricity. So right. I've developed these, if you will, this cutting edge approach using a different energy dimension, a different spectrum of energy. And frankly, what scalar energy, or what this 0-point energy dimension offers, is just incredible. What we can do with this energy, it will change the course of history.
Well, that is amazing. And that's what we need at this time, with so many people suffering. And isn't it fortuitous that, isn't it funny how they say you have the problem and then the solution comes? And this does sound one of those great things that we have. Could you tell us then what scalar energy is for those of us who are a little uninitiated?
Actually, everybody's an expert in scalar energy. It's sunlight.
Oh, okay.
It's sunlight,
right.
Starlight. It's the initial energy of the universe. The great inventor Nikola Tesla developed scalar energy instruments that could capture sunlight. And that's what this instrument is. It's a miniature star. I can capture sunlight and starlight. Wow. So to be very clear, it's not an electrical current. It's a different type of energy.
That is fascinating because, before we recorded, we did have a slight joke about the geoengineering that's going on and the nonsense that is being pervaded on us about the global warming scam and how they're dimming the skies. And we're being reduced in the amount of sunlight that we naturally need. So just tell us a bit more about how important sunlight is then for us.
Well, it's a first principle. Light energy is fundamental, and all of nature, if you will, is made possible through sunlight. So in any way to obstruct sunlight or in any way to interfere with its pattern is going to disrupt life in some fashion. Well, I want to use these instruments to enhance sunlight, to promote sunlight. It's bizarre, some of the mentality, the convoluted thinking that we see today.
Yeah, I mean, if you take it on simple terms, we've been led up the garden path to put creams on us every time we go out, you know, some sunblocks and things like that. And you think, hang on a minute, how did primitive man ever survive? They didn't have sunblock. So how do you capture it?
That's the key. And that's, if you will, that's a century of invention. And this is one of the prototypes of earlier models. I worked through the notes of two great scientists, Nikola Tesla and Galen Hieronymus. Those men developed scalar energy instruments. Frankly, they were suppressed in their time. And today I have taken up their, if you will, research, and I've recreated or refashioned or retrofitted these instruments. They're very powerful now. So to be, again, very clear to your audience, this is a new and emerging science. What Nikola Tesla began over a century ago, I continue on with this work. The key to my work is I can guarantee its operation on account of the fact that I use energy. This is not a psychic process. This is not autosuggestion. These are engineered, these are scientific instruments, and they are dependable. I can perform a work function with these instruments.
That is amazing. And we can see you there sitting in your laboratory, which is lovely to see you actually in situation. So somehow you're capturing sunlight. That's so. Are you positioning something up towards the sun that sort of narrows the beam, or is it recreating it in a way?
It's recreating it. Now, to be very clear, scalar energy is everywhere. It's emitted by the sun and the stars. Every inch of the universe has this energy. You simply tap into it. Now, imagine that free energy that's omnipresent, that does not have any chemical reaction to it. This is the future of energy generation. This is what Tesla wanted to achieve, to demonstrate the instrument is now functioning. That's a Tesla coil that's broadcasting this scalar energy. If I were to hold up a light bulb to the coil, the light bulb would illuminate under the influence of scalar energy.
Look at that. And that's a light bulb still in the blister pack.
Yeah, so the energy is so powerful, it can illuminate a light bulb placed in its vicinity. So the key element here is that this energy fills an environment. My laboratory, this laboratory is filled with scalar energy. I feel that energy pulsating from that Tesla coil. And with that, we see that people experience therapeutic benefits. This is life enhancing. It's very unique how we deliver this energy, but people attest. I have thousands of testimonies. People feel better. Now, I'm all about results, benefits. I am results driven. And that's the point of my research. And this is what I want to inculcate to your audience. You will see results. You will see the benefits of my work.
So how does this differ then? Because I'm just thinking, in the old days, go back, say, 120 years, maybe 150 years, the advice was, in these, especially up here in England, where we had coal fire and there was smog and all of that, and people would say, oh, you're looking a bit peaky. You need to go down to the seaside and take in the sun, or go to, the south of France or somewhere if you could afford it, that sort of thing. And people would go and lie in the sun, and they would, of course, naturally feel a lot better because they're getting sunlight. So is this more enhanced than, as we said jokingly about, well, not joking because it is serious, about the geoengineering nowadays, it's so difficult to get any sunlight. Is it different, though, than just sunbathing?
It's a little bit different. I'll tell you why. I administer scalar energy exclusively. This is not an electromagnetic instrument. So to be clear, there's two energies. It's very simple. Scalar energy and electromagnetic energy. I prefer scalar energy because it doesn't have a chemical consequence. And it is a different dimension. So why do I work with scalar energy? I think it's if you will, more versatile than electricity. I think it's benign, and I think the health benefits from scalar energy far outweigh any health benefit from electricity or magnetism.
Yes. Now, I've read the, what is it called? The something rainbow that talks about dirty electricity, the electricity in the house, and then it goes into the radiation from all of that EMF and stuff like that.
Thank you.
So I can absolutely get immediately, if you're using first principle sunlight, which, as you explain, and as we all know, I think deep in our hearts, that the sun is, as did Neolithic man and pagans and all that, worship the sun because it was the life force for all of us. So I can absolutely get why you prefer the scalar energy. So now you're a healer, or I understand the machine is doing the healing. You're just the operator, shall I say that, without
Correct.
being right. And you do this at a distance, and this is the sort of thing that knocks people over. But I've seen this sort of thing happen with blood, and I looked at an interview that you did with somebody else, and they talked about the same thing: how blood communicates, even though it might be sitting on a slide under a microscope, and your donor is sitting perhaps 5 feet or even in another part of the world, and yet somehow the blood can communicate, and you'll see the cells in the blood move. Perhaps if you've drunk structured water or something, and it happens in them as well, or if they drink it, it happens under the slide. Now I gather that this process is a similar. It seems far-fetched, but it really isn't.
That's well put. So let me draw this analogy. We're having a conversation through our computers. Now, obviously, Richard is not in my computer. We're sharing an image. When I work with this instrument, I work with an image, a photograph. Anytime I work with people send me their photograph because I can communicate to the photograph as Richard and I are communicating through our computers. Now, let's say 100 years ago, if you would tell people that you can have a conversation through a computer or a television or a cell phone, that they would be incredulous.
Yes.
Well, energy can be maneuvered, engineered to do anything practically. So this type of energy looks at the force field on a photograph and sends energy into a person's force field, their informational field. I never work with people. Hence, it's not a biological process. It's a higher order. It's the order of information. We avoid a chemical reaction. We're on a higher informational level.
Right. So that's it's kind of. I've just moved my. Sorry, I'm just going to shunt the picture back into a better position so we see you better. There we go. It's almost spiritual in the way that it works.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's spiritual because all of my work is non-physical. Now, what am I getting at? In this dimension of scalar energy, it's consciousness. It's a spiritual dimension. There's no electrons. If electricity is, if you will, AC current, some type of movement of electrons or a force field around electrons, with scalar energy, there's no electrons. There's no protons. It's consciousness or information, or what some people might call the Akashic record. It really is the mind of God. And this type of communication, this information system, this universal information system, far exceeds the limited capacity of AC or DC electricity.
And Tesla knew this, did he? I mean, he had an inkling that this energy was going to be, that it could be used for all sorts of stuff, not only free energy to light bulbs, as you've just demonstrated there, but also for health benefits, which is what keeps us going.
Yes, thank you. So to be clear, there's different functions I can perform with this instrument. Now, follow my train of thought. When I work with photographs, I access a person's aura, or perhaps some people might want to call it their 0-point energy field. And I can have a communication with the person's photograph with another photograph. So I'm holding up two photographs side by side. Candida albicans is a fungus. It has information to it. If I place these two photographs inside my instrument side by side, there's a communication of this fungus with my photograph. So the energy or the information of Candida albicans enters into my information field or my quantum field. And it's not a biological process. And I can eradicate the energy of Candida albicans through the photograph of Candida albicans. So to be very transparent and clear, a photograph of a microbe seeks out the microbe in my quantum field and eliminates it, removes it, disassembles it.
It's right. So, I mean, this is, as you say, it is groundbreaking. So the quantum field, could you just explain, is that something like the the torus shape that is surrounding us.
That's correct. That's correct.
Right.
Now, this Tesla coil is really a toroid. And if we could photograph this, we would see scalar energy just pulsing out of it. So the toroid is one example of a scalar energy force field. That's one of the reasons why I use Tesla coils.
Right.
Now, this is, again, a new branch of physics in which, again, we're not working with electricity. We work with an information system, what some people call consciousness, zero-point energy plasma. Many physicists use the term plasma, which really means the information of the universe or the all-seeing eye. Call it what you will. There is an information field. This, people, is the key to progress. Once we tap into that information field, we can use this energy to perform practically any work function. Tesla wanted to light up the world with scalar energy. If I could light up a light bulb locally, then eventually you could light up a light bulb 1,000 miles away without the need of infrastructure.
So now, this immediately starts to think about, hang on, there is everybody who comes up with something which is, say, let's say, a miracle cure or a free energy, is suddenly the interests of certain large commercial companies is being challenged, and of course they don't like it. So now I'm worried for you because you have this technology,
yes,
and you're talking to me on a big platform.
Yes.
How secure are you and the technology, and are you going to disappear, and will it vanish before our eyes?
Thank you, Richard, for your concern. First and foremost, God protects me. Number two, the fact that we're having this public discussion through your channel, we can disseminate this information.
Right.
Nikola Tesla had one drawback. It wasn't his fault. He did not have the internet. If
That's
Tesla
true.
would have had the internet 100 years ago, 125 years ago, he could have promulgated his research. Well, he was ostracized. The fact that we have an internet now, and we have social media, we can get the message out. What I am saying is true and accurate. I have demonstrated these instruments for years. This is not hyperbole. I follow the laws of science. What I have to offer will help everybody, at least in some measure, whether it's a person or an animal, their quantum health, their energetic health can be improved. So to cut to the chase, what I have discovered will have an impact on the social order.
That is incredible. Do you think that down the line, this sort of technology will be available in the way that we have mobile phones, that everybody will have a very simple device once you've scaled up the production?
Yes. Once we realize how this energy works, and we have to present this to the world. That's the purpose of our talk today. I want to get this information out there. I am one researcher. I work alone.
Can you repeat that? The internet.
I have to find a way to promulgate this work.
Right. Could you just say that again?
Okay. Promulgate.
The crucial moment, the internet slowed down, as is typical.
Okay. As the sole researcher, I have to get this message out there. And that's the point of our discussion today, to promulgate this concept, to get the word out there. Now, I want to see mankind benefit. I'm not going to hold technology. I want to present this to the world. I want the world to participate in this. To that extent, I give away free sessions.
Fantastic. Yes. Well, I'm sure that you'll be inundated by viewers of my show for any free sessions, of course. So what is involved? Let's just say that, for example, because I know you did some work in herpes, and I've got that on my information that I was sent. So let's say I'm riddled with herpes, or however it works, and I come to you and I say, look, Tom, I've had this problem. I've had it all my life, because as I understand it, with herpes, you can't, in theory, you're stuck with it. You can't get rid of it. You can manage it. Like so many conditions, you manage And that may be just the big narrative that we're told because it sells a lot more
Yes.
white pills, of course.
Yeah.
And so you manage a condition. So what would I do? How would a
Mhm.
typical consultation go?
To be clear, I have customized this to the point where it is standardized. I can
Right.
work with one person, I could work with 1 million people by way of photographs. So you simply email us a photograph. You do nothing else. All I need is your photograph, just a bust shot, just your
Yeah.
facial shot. And let's say you do have herpes. On any given day, I take photographs, again, magnified photographs of microbes. Now, this is a collection of the herpes viruses. And I would
Right.
literally take a person's photograph and place it in the instrument side by side those photographs of herpes. Or I would take photographs of 1,000 people and place
Wow.
them inside the instrument next to the photographs of the herpes virus. So there's a sharing of information. So the information of herpes downloads into the quantum field of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's as simple as that. And in so doing, the instrument will pick up the energy field, the information field of herpes, and negate the energy field. It will not negate the chemicals. It will break down the intelligence of herpes. And as a result, the herpes virus disassembles.
Wow.
Now, I've been able to work with people around the world, and you'd have to go to our website to look at our test results. Now, to be clear, nobody has ever duplicated my results, so I only can rely upon test results.
Right.
Here's a PCR test from a woman who once had herpes, and after our sessions, she had a follow-up PCR test. There's no viral load whatsoever. Here's another PCR test from a person that was suffering from herpes. They simply submitted their photograph to us. After the sessions, this person decided to have a PCR test conducted, no viral load after our sessions were administered. And the list just goes on and on and on, that we've done this with so many people and had such great results that people are now submitting their PCR test result to us. And the people are stating, it's their claim, that they no longer have a viral load for herpes.
That, I mean, it's just, that is, not only is it staggering, but it's mind-blowing. I mean, the fact, first of all, let's just break that down, that you can take or you can be sent photographs of thousands of people, and you put them in your machine, in the instrument. How long does it take?
It takes one session, because we're working with first principles, we're working with energy. And we literally take what I'll call the intelligence of the herpes virus, and we confuse it or bring it to a state of chaos. And as a result, the herpes virus falls apart. It's almost as if you can take a glass and throw it on the ground. Well, you shatter, you bring this glass, the cup, if you will, to a state of chaos. Well, that's what I do with a microbe. I bring it to a state of chaos. And the fact that I have a scalar energy instrument that can control the information of the herpes virus, that can control the atomic and molecular intelligence, we simply negate the intelligence. And as a result, the herpes virus ceases to exist.
Now, I mentioned in the past that I understood that herpes, along with other pathogens, you need to manage. Does this manifestly get rid of it altogether, or do you need to come back at some time if you've perhaps been infected, or is it a one-time cure?
The people that I've worked with, as long as they've never been reinfected, they usually never have any symptoms of the virus. So I would say that this works on a basis in which, as long as you're not reinfected, we seem to be able to eradicate the herpes virus with one session. And again, I have so many, if you visit my website, I have so many PCR tests. This is the beginning body of evidence of people from around the world who tell me that after they submit their photograph, they no longer have symptoms of the herpes virus.
That is fascinating. And of course, it's not just, I mean, we're using herpes as a one-off thing,
Yes.
but of course, that pathogens come in all shapes and sizes. Now, let me ask you this question then, because this is clearly very, very good. Can the same equipment be used, if you flip it round, in the hands of the wrong people for bad things?
Yes, to answer your questions. And this is why I guard the technology presently. Again, I'm the only inventor, I'm the only researcher, and I want to share my information with a wide audience so that people get involved with it. Like anything, technology can be used for good or evil. So
Right.
I am a humanitarian, I'm a Christian, I'm going to use this for the benefit of mankind. But you can see my reticence to just to share this willy-nilly. You can't do that.
Yes. And I not only do I accept that, I can absolutely understand in the world that we're in, where technology is being used, such as EMF, the electrical magnetic radiation, which is radiating at different frequencies, as is music. You know, we could, not radiating, but it's vibrating at a frequency which is not good for us, but we could be using it in a frequency that is beneficial. But for some reason, people have decided to, for their own nefarious uses, to affect us. And I can absolutely see why you would be reticent about it. So the next question that I want to ask then is, we've recently, as you will be well aware, had a certain virus told that is in circulation, and they're desperately trying to keep the story, the narrative going. And we've also had a remedy, a so-called remedy that people have had put into their arms, and we see adverse effects from that, if I can put it so delicately. Can Scalar Energy help it with that?
I'm going to make a statement predicated upon fact and experience. During this pandemic, I worked with 200 friends and relatives. My friends and relatives sent me their photographs, and I'm always working with friends and relatives. And under my inspection, under my care, all of my friends and relatives were relatively healthy. Nobody visited the hospital. Nobody was in harm's way during the pandemic. And I could speak now from my observation for my 200 and 300 perhaps friends, at least 200 people. Others who visited my website tell me that while they were on our sessions, they did not have the full symptomology during the pandemic. So that's my observation, and I only can pass on my observation. Keep in mind, as a new science, nobody's ever duplicated my results.
Right.
This instrument is unique. My process is unique. I have no peers. There are no peer-reviewed papers, hence. There are no peer-reviewed studies. What I'm doing is that cutting edge. So I only can rely upon testimonies, but I'll give the audience, I'll titillate the audience with another example. I'm going to hold up a photograph. This is a group in Delhi, India. It's known as the Om Prakash HIV/AIDS Clinic. I've worked with over 5,000 people in Delhi, India, by way of their photograph. I've never met these people, to be clear. After I work with these people, they report to me that they no longer have a viral load for HIV. This is one of the test results from Delhi, India. No viral load after I've worked with these people. I have to rely upon the test results. I have to rely upon the information that people share with me. The testimonies are the beginning body of evidence. Why do I have to rely upon testimonies? No scientific group has ever duplicated my results.
Mm. So if somebody was watching and they were saying, oh, this is just quackery, this is all, he's a charlatan, it's all magic, it's all smoke and mirrors and all of that sort of thing, I guess the ultimate test is, what have you got to lose if you believe it's nonsense and you send a photograph and you have something and you do what you do, your end of the world, and they're not being touched or anything by you personally, they've never met you, and suddenly within however long it takes to make a cure, and they're cured, that, how can they turn around then and say, well, hang on, it was a pill, he didn't have it was a different ingredient and all that, because as you say, there's no biology whatsoever, there's no electricity involved. Try, I guess that's why you give away the free sessions. Try it, and it speaks for itself.
Yes, it does speak for itself, and that's why I give away 15 days of free sessions to anybody in the world. I understand this is new, it's different, it's groundbreaking. Again, this is a unique instrument. My approach is unique. Nobody has duplicated my results. So to be fair to people, I want them to try for free. I give everybody in the world 15 days of free sessions. Then people can develop the narrative, people can submit their testimonies. But I'll say without equivocation, every time I've worked with people, I receive testimonies, favorable testimony. Here's another testimony from somebody from that clinic in Delhi, India.
HIV
no longer
virus
have
not
any
detected.
viral load that's detectable after I've worked with them. So this begs the question, why am I having great results when people submit to me a photograph that I can access in the information field? There must be something to this information field.
So the people who go and do these PCR tests or go back to their doctors or to the hospital or whatever, the doctors must be scratching their heads saying, hang on a minute, you've had this condition for so many years. What have you done? And do they tell them? Do they say that the doctors are confused, doubtful, or do the doctors themselves or the other medical professions get in touch with you and say, hey, whatever you're doing, I must know this?
You're right. I'll give you an example. I worked with a gentleman who was HIV positive. I worked with him 3 or 4 years ago. And since then, he's had 3 back-to-back PCR tests. And his attending physician each time has said, your results are negative. There's no viral load. He's actually, this man has actually gained weight and has recovered his health in many incidences. His eyesight has improved. So after the 3rd negative result, no viral load, his attending physician said, well, I don't know what to tell you. You don't have the HIV virus anymore. And that was the physician's comment. And I don't, in no way do I want to step on anybody's toes here. I don't expect people to understand this, to be quite frank, because it's new, it's groundbreaking. Yes. This has never been done before. And per se, this is not Western medicine. This is a new branch in which we work with an aura or a force field of a person. So I don't expect the medical community to understand this. This is not Western medicine.
Right. And there must be a lot of people who, within the, let's say, the esoteric world, or who are more spiritual, will immediately understand, whereas those that have attended medical school and have gone into the old system will be just not believing it, scratching their heads, and calling you a quack, and also concerned about their income. But 2024, it seems to me, is going to be the year where this sort of information is coming out, and I feel very positive about that. So it doesn't surprise me that this is groundbreaking and new, and it's certainly open to me, and I'm sure you're going to be opening lots of minds with this. How long has it taken you to get to this point?
I am 63 years of age. I've been at this for 50 years, ever since I was a youngster. I started to study Tesla at a very young age. And the reason it takes so long is everything I've discovered is groundbreaking. I don't have a predecessor. That's why this instrument is unique. I can't rely upon a textbook. There is no textbook. This is not taught by academia. My work is groundbreaking. And when you conduct groundbreaking research, it takes time, a lot of time.
Yes. Yes. And I guess a lot of acceptance from those people who may be helping you as well, because it's new to them. When you started, people must have thought you were bonkers.
They were dubious. Let's just say that way. To be, thank you for being blunt about it. 30 years ago,
Well,
40 years ago, this was not accepted. Now it's becoming mainstream.
yes.
And
Yes.
I give all the credit to Nikola Tesla. He was the pioneer. To be clear, Tesla began with AC electricity. That was his moment in time. He was the founding father of AC electricity. Later in his life, he never worked with electricity. So if you really look closely, Tesla was also the founding father of scalar energy, but he called it radiant energy. To this day, people don't quite understand that.
Do you think that if his work, and we hear about how on his death that people came in, they took all his patents and all his designs and they just disappeared. I haven't researched this myself. This is what I've been told. Do you think that if people were at the time a lot more open to his ideas, that we would already be there if it wasn't to the detriment of those with vested interests elsewhere?
No, no. The international bankers were aware of Nikola Tesla's work over 100 years ago, and they conceived this as a threat. If you will, it was a threat to their money and power. And there was suppression. There still is suppression. This technique is so straightforward. It's so easy. The fact that I could work with photographs from people around the world, this is the future, people, of quantum health. It's not Western medicine. It's a new branch of physics.
And I suppose the thing is, if anything ever happened to you, it's still going to happen. Somebody somewhere is going to, it's not like you can stop it now.
Correct. Bravo. And thank you for the internet. Again, thank you for your audience and for seeing the merit. All of my work is now being, if you will, backed up by testimonies, not by science, but by testimonies. Because the people speak and the people feel better. For instance, when I take vitamins and I can download vitamins into a person by way of a photograph, many people tell me that their digestion improves. If I were to take this energy field of B2, a photograph, and download it into my energy field, the upshot is people say that their skin is clear or their digestion improves, or that their fingernails are stronger. So there seems to be some type of energy field associated with a photograph, either a microbe or a vitamin, and we can download that information into the quantum field. There's no limits to the quantum field of consciousness.
So the photograph, in and of itself, is not really doing anything, but it's the messenger, it's the connection. Yes. Is that right?
That's correct. It's the energy. It's all the energy. This photograph of riboflavin has, if you will, a specific energy or a signature. Let's call it a force field. Everything has a force field. And when two force fields communicate, this is how I receive my multivitamins on a daily basis, Richard. I don't take a multivitamin pill. I receive my vitamins through energy, not through a pill.
Wow, that is amazing. And I suppose in a way it's what was the chap, the Japanese chap who did it with water which he
Emoto.
Emoto, that's right. Yeah,
that's a good point. So Professor Emoto could speak into water, and or if you will, download some type of information or an emotion into water, and you could actually see the beautiful crystalline structure in the water as a result of that information. Just by speaking or thinking, that water would absorb that information field. Well, likewise, if you can speak into water, then I can treat a photograph.
Yes, because the photograph, as you say, it's the energy field that comes with it, and of course, we can send photographs instantly now, thanks to
Yes.
the internet. It hasn't got to go through the postage service and lots of people interfering
Yes.
with it and all of that. So this is amazing. People are going to want to try this out, and quite rightly so, and will be amazed, I'm sure, by the results. What can I do with the channel to facilitate all of this?
I give away 15 days of free sessions. Now, let me preface my remarks. I'm all about results. This is a scientific instrument. This is not autosuggestion. I am a scientist. And if I work with energy, energy then follows the laws of science, and I can prove my work. So to prove my work, I offer everybody in the world 15 days of free sessions. Go to the website. Simply email us your photograph, just your facial, just a bus shot, and we'll treat you for 15 days. Scalarlight.com. You prove to yourself what scalar energy means to your health. And send photographs, by the way, of your pets. You have dogs or cats or horses. Send photographs of your pets. Invariably, you'll see an improvement in the health of your dogs, your cats, your horses, etc.
It's interesting you mention animals and pets, because when I was talking to the lady who does the bioresonance, she was also saying if you send the hair of a pet, she can work with them. And I was saying, how often do they get ill and stuff? She said, well, a lot of them are ill because of what we feed them on the commercial pet foods that we've got is not necessarily the greatest in the world, because it's highly industrial and various other things. And no doubt, and that made me think, food in and of itself has this energy field. And we know that if we eat, well, I say we know, it's my belief that if you eat highly processed and particularly industrialized animals that have been injected with goodness knows what, and then when they're on the way to the slaughter, they're frightened, all the various hormones are going through them that are not conducive, and you eat that, you're effectively eating the same fear that is not beneficial. And if you're able to find food that is more humanely dealt with and is cleaner and more organic and all of that, that's got to, that same energy field is with you, healing you. Yeah.
I agree with you. And that's been spoken about. When you kill an animal in fear, you inherit that type of information field. I agree. You're right.
Yeah. So in the food that you then feed the pets, that's why pets perhaps are getting iller than they ought to, and sending a photograph to you can sort that out, which is amazing. So it's scalarlight.com. I will put the link in the description as well, of course, so people can click that. Just sometimes YouTube stops the links for some reason. So it's good to say it out loud so people can write that. That's Scalar, SCALARLIGHT.com. So you can write that down if the link doesn't work for whatever reason. Tom, this is amazing. I'm so thrilled to be able to talk to you. Somebody who's at the cutting edge of the new world is how I look at it. We're entering this new world where this type of technology, it seems to me, is going to be coming forth very quickly, and is going to change the way that we think about our health and our lives.
You're absolutely right. This is a new technology that will change the way we live. Tesla wanted to give to the world free energy. Well, we will have free energy, and it won't be coal or electricity. There will be scalar energy. This technology will change the course of history.
Yeah, it really will. And what's fascinating about that, it was there right from the very beginning. And somehow we've kind of ignored it.
Absolutely.
But we're coming
absolutely right.
Yeah, and we're coming back into the light. And, what better time for the light to get rid of all the dark that we see in the world? Tom, I very much appreciate you coming on the show and telling us about this amazing invention and discovery. And I urge the viewer to check out the website and get in touch and try it. I may well send you a photograph of myself and see. I've got to find out something wrong with me first, I suppose. Do you have to have something wrong with you, or can you just sort of bathe in the Scalar Light because you might not know there's something wrong with you?
Just send in, you email us your photograph. To be clear, I don't diagnose. The energy, the intelligence will perform the function it needs to perform.
Right. So that's interesting, because people can obviously have benign things that may flare up and all sorts of things, and you just don't know until your body is screaming at you. You should have done something about this, some time ago. So that is amazing. Brilliant stuff, Tom. Really appreciate it. I hope we can stay in touch. Do let me know if you get a flood of people, and if you do send an email, just mention the show, because it would be nice, I think, for Tom to know where the inquiries are coming from.
Thanks.
And it's always good for me to know that what I'm putting out on the channel is reaching people. Tom, it's been a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much. And
you're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you.
Well, good luck with how you go. Do let me know, and maybe we can have a report back in a few months' time. It would be fantastic.
Please,
so there we are.
like that. Thank you.
That would be lovely. Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Cutting edge technology here, but as old as the hills, or as old as the universe, I suppose. If only we'd known. I'll be back with more monologues and wonderful interviews, but in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Do take on board all that Tom has said. From Tom and myself, have a good day. Until next time, bye-bye.